just like the good old days. There's the test card that we all come to love as young children, awaiting our programs, or maybe waiting to go to bed. Perhaps it was a school day. There's the little girl with the test card. Can't remember what her name was. There was a documentary a while back, I think, into that young lady who's now about, I think she's probably dead. The clown's dead. The clown died about 15 years ago. He was buried somewhere outside of Crystal Palace. And as all clowns should die, so shall this stream. I think I'm prepared. Although I have just been bothered by a pigeon. And this said pigeon is currently walking up and down the gunnels of my boat. Whether he was a carrier pigeon or a racing pigeon or just a plain wild pigeon that's taken a fancy to me, he's outside. Might be able to see him. Might be. If I was to open this window, tap like this. Maybe he's gone. Either way, he was on my back, like literally. Buddy. Woo. How is everybody? Where are we? Making sure that I did a little test stream earlier on. Don't need those on now because I can hear them. Don't need to. I did a little test stream earlier on, and it was. It seemed to go okay. There was a chap in here. Whether he's still in, whether he's in here now, I have no idea. Then Julie popped in. Baloney, Tony Baloney. Tony Baloney, are you there, Tony Baloney? Make sure that I just got to make sure that the chat works. Somebody write something in the chat. Somebody. Top fans, no. Top chat, live chat. Top fan, Ray, top fan. You're a top fan. I thought the clown was on the Labour front bench. I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know where he is, actually. I don't think he's buried in Crystal Palace. Old school fool. And Ray, thank you. Even if no one else joins now, out of the 23,000 subscribers, if no one else joins, doesn't matter, because I got Old School and Ray. That's it. That's all I need. What more do you need? So I did this little test earlier on. If you can hear the fan, it's because it's rather warm in here. It's 25.3 degrees inside at the moment. So even though the temperature's dropped outside considerably, still in this steel coffin, we have temperatures reaching 25 degrees. So the fan is on me. Apologies if you can hear a... But, oh my God, you guys are the cream of the crop. Julie said she will be in. Judy Ash said she will be in. And there was this guy earlier on called Tony Baloney who helped me with my setup. We should be able to see the chat. Oh, maybe. Oh, no. Here we go. Hold on. Let's move that up. So the chat. Oh, the chat's slightly delayed. Slightly delayed. Let's bring that down like that, and then bring that up. Like, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Chat, 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 chat. So yeah, I'm sweating because it's warm. So it's not because I have some weird condition or I've just done a line of something I shouldn't have. It's because it's 25.3 degrees, just to prove it. Is that it? There we go. 50%. Oh, it's gone up 51%. That's the sweat. That's the sweat on my brow that's putting up the humidifier. But yeah, that's the temperature. To be honest, I'm not used to seeing it below 32. So this is positively Arctic for me right now compared to what it's been like for 2 months. Positively Arctic. I've got so used to being in a sauna that yeah, I got no qualms about ever going into a sauna now. Never thought I'd say that. I always thought the idea of saunas was just weird, just weird. But yeah, turn yourself up a tad. But this is the problem I had. I don't think I can go any higher. I don't. I've maxed out on my audio capture. The only thing I could probably do is to turn this one up. Headphones. I don't know. That's headphones. Is that any better? Is that any better? Can you hear me a bit better? Go to the other chat because the one on the screen takes forever to. Was that any better, old school? Is that any better? Can you turn yours up? I know that sounds really annoying, but it sometimes helps because I'm as high as I can go in the audio mixer. I don't know how good that sounds. Can you both hear me? The only way I could do boost it, I guess. You're perfect over the intro titles, but dipped considerably. Really? Okay, hold on a second. Let's go to... What audio captures that? Let's go to that and copy and paste it. That's all I can do. Let's copy and paste audio capture 2. And then go into here. Paste. Paste. There might be 2 now. Let's mute that one. Is that any better? Does that sound better? That's me copying and pasting. Because OBS is, that's why I went on earlier on and tried to work out all this shit beforehand. But it never stays. Things never stay. Settings go, as soon as the computer goes off, everything changes. So I'm hoping that is a bit better. Is that any better? I've just copied the channel over from... Sorted. Fantastic. Let me delete audio capture 3. Remove it because we don't need it. Otherwise there's 2 audio sources. One second. Okay. Hide. So that's that sorted. How are you, Ray and Old School? How are you? Much louder. Shall I bring it down a bit? Should I bring it down a bit? Justin, should I bring it down a bit? Thing is, Justin, have you ever used OBS, mate? It's a mind fuck of everything going on. There's like so many different things to put into sources and scenes. You need a degree in streaming. You really do. Justin, old school Justin. Justin is someone who I always enjoy working with, although it has been about 165 years since we've done anything together. But other than that, it was a joy to work with Justin. Old school has been a staple of this channel for many years, and so's Justin. To be honest, he's dropped in and out. It's fine, good. It's fine. So yeah, I befriended a pigeon. Is he gonna come over? I went out on the boat and I started fiddling about with the solar panels, trying to get the last bit of sun of the day. And he sort of flew down to here and to my face. And he was just flapping around like a hummingbird does in one spot. And he was just flapping around. And I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? At first I thought it was something, it was attacking me. And it was just hovering around, and I put my arm out, and it landed on my arm. And I thought, oh, it's obviously somebody's, because you can get friendly pigeons. I mean, he may have migrated from Trafalgar Square, which isn't that far away. Or he's somebody's somebody's like got racing pigeon or something. He hadn't got a clip on him on his foot. He's there. He's actually he's in the kitchen window. He's going around the gunnels of my boat. But I couldn't get in. In fact, I came in to get my vape, and he was still on my back, and I walked right through the boat, and he was on my back. And I could not, because every time I went to reach for him, he kept going to the other shoulder. So, yeah, it was very odd. There's something that happens out here in nature. I had the duck that kept coming in and out, like when he wanted. So, yeah, I don't know where he's gone now, though, but he insisted on being on my back for a very long time. Julie, hello, Julie. Hello, Julie. What the hell do I normally talk about in streams? I don't know what I normally talk about. I let you all talk, and then I'll join in a conversation. It's a bit like a really lazy podcaster who just goes out and sticks a microphone in somebody's face and asks them a question, and then just spends the whole program just recording their voice. It's like a really lazy podcaster. Pigeon with a parrot complex. I thought that. I even did it. I've got it on my phone here. I haven't had time to transfer it because it was only 30 minutes ago. Is he around still? Yeah, I'll show you the video. It'll be on my phone though. Right, where is it? Here we go. Oh, we got any volume on my phone. Someone. This guy or girl who seems to be very happy in sitting on my back while I'm sitting out on my boat. Can you see the pigeon? I'm not quite sure exactly what their plans are for the night, but they're not coming into the boat, although I have just been in with him on my back. So yeah, I think he may have been a pigeon that was obviously very used to. Yeah, watch this in a minute. Watch this bit in a minute. Migrated from Trafalgar Square, which is about 65 miles. I've just said that, you bellend. He's a homing pigeon, looking for home. He's not tagged though, I don't think. Buddy. Let's bring it back a bit so you can see it. Somebody tell me what that noise is. I don't know. Maybe he's thinking of mating with a rather weird human, which would make for a very weird pigeon. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Here we go. This is where he attacks me. Things that you experience while you're on this on the canal. It's quite warm today. It's actually quite warm. The sun has just gone down. There he is. Well, he's my only friend today. So, hey, buddy. Hey, watch this. Watch this. Where is he? Watch this. Watch this. Oh, I hate holding a phone to the camera. There we go. Smile for the camera. Or smile for the camera. There he goes. He's cute. Give him that. He's cute. He is cute. But he ain't getting used to being on here. He's going to peck my ear now. Anyway. That's enough of that. It goes on for another minute and a half. I don't think you want to watch that. But yeah, pigeon with a parrot complex. But he's ever since he's been wandering about the side of the boat. So I don't know. As the last time I had a duck that kept coming in. It literally, the duck would jump down the steps, and then I'd put some duck food out, and he'd jump back up the steps, and he'd eat off the deck of the boat. Very odd. Yes, it was quite cute, Julie. But when he went for my ear, and then he tried to take my Saint Christopher off and my silver necklace, and he had that, and he was it was slightly annoying. It was slightly annoying after about 2 minutes of it being quite cute, and then having to walk in and out of the boat with the bugger still on my back. And I was thinking, if he flew off now, he's going to be in my boat. Last time I've had so many weird encounters with nature since I've been boating. There was the yellowfinch that I found in Coventry, a little baby one. I brought him back. I had him in here 2 days, but I couldn't. He was so young, he wasn't taken to the food, and I took him to a bird rescue, and he was there for a couple of months, I think, before they released him. But yeah, just really interesting, very up close encounters with nature. I guess that's the lifestyle that I've thrown myself in. So, right, where am I? I can read I might be a bit late in reading the comments if I just don't read them from here. So I'm going to ignore them there. Can you all see the comments on the screen? Because that took me a while to work out again. Anyway, so what's everyone been up to? What's everyone been up to? Justin, what are you up to, mate? You're busy. I'm surprised that you could even manage to jump into the stream. I've heard that you're really busy. Justin's a filmmaker based in the Southwest who's extremely prolific, and he's always got his fingers in lots of different pies. But yeah, what are you up to, Justin? What are you up to? Every so often I catch Jim on Discord, and he tells me a little bit. Yeah, comments good. That's good. That's good. It's usually me that's got the birds all over. Yeah, it is. That is very true. That is very true. That is very true. It's the feathered birds, though, mate, are the only ones that I've ever really had any luck with in the last 6 months. So the feathered ones, they are. Although I have lost weight, I don't know if anyone can notice it. I've lost about 1.5 stones. That's what happens when you come 65 miles down from the Midlands, and I think I counted 46 locks that I've done in temperatures often exceeding 34 degrees. So I think I've lost it in sweat alone. I needed to lose weight, and I'm certainly going to be. A few things have changed. Hey Justin, I'm being forced back into Devon. I'm being forced by Torbay Council to leave my boat and move back to Devon. They miss me so much that they don't like my independent lifestyle. They want me back there. So thanks to Torbay Council, I'm having to reconsider my repositioning and head all the way back up the same way as I came, to go and move down into Paignton and to Mum's property, which is still unfortunately not been sold. Because I don't know whether you know this, and not many people do. I don't want to get too into this because it's consumed me. I'm being charged 3 times as much council tax because apparently I fall under the category of having a second home that's basically unlived in, and they're charging me 300% council tax. So the cost of me mooring a boat up for the winter at North Kilworth Wharf is cheaper, so as they reduce my council tax back to 140 instead of 400. So I have to be there because they punish unoccupied second homes, and they even said the worst thing is well, could you rent it, Mr. Williams? Could you look up the conditions of a park home, Mr. Dickface? So yeah, no. Apparently, I'm one of the elite. You know, I have a second home that can be heavily subsidised when unoccupied. Anyway, it's an absolute nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. However, it does mean that I'll be down a lot more in Devon during the months of November, December, January. So, because I'm struggling to pay the bills, because at the moment bills for my park home, which I shouldn't have still, but I do because the park home is perfectly all right, but the site is an absolute pigsty. Are coming to about £700 a month now, and my CRT license, because I'm on the Thames, I have to have a river and canal license, is now £1,700 a year as opposed to £1,100 a year. So you can see that I might be in a little bit of a predicament right now with money. I'm just hoping that somebody is going to buy the park home so as I can put 2 feet firmly where I want them to be. Anyway, you don't need to hear all that. Let's go to the comments. Sherry Swiss says, I found 2 blackbird eggs in my garden only to find the bloody crow killed them in an embryo stage. Oh, Sherry Swiss. That's a bit shite. Oh, that's awful. Blackbirds are lovely. Actually, the blackbird is probably one of my favourite birds. Very intelligent little birds they are, and very cute. I love the blackbirds. Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like you. No, just like me. No, just like you. Just like me. They long to be close to you. I've just wrapped a film that I produced and gearing up to DOP another for Sam. Spent today in the surf in Porthtowan Beach again. Oh, down in Old Cornwall, down in Curnow. Apparently that's the worst place for the councils because they're the counties with the most second homes, penalising it, trying to get people to rent. Apparently, that's the problem with Devon and Cornwall. While it's beautiful to surf, it's also a highly subsidised way that local councils can rape you of all your money, especially if you have a second home in Devon or Cornwall. A park home falls under that category too. Hello, there's somebody walking past. A park home. A park home. Treating me like I've got like a mansion in Truro or something. Not that there would be a mansion in Truro. Probably more Mevagizzy. Old school. Sounds lush, just. I need some sea on me. Oh, you got onto the Thames. I did, yes. I actually went all the way down to the Oxford. And the reason why I didn't film any of it, well, I did film something of it, is because, quite frankly, I was a little bit shocked at how urban when the Oxford Canal ends. It sort of ends close to the city, but not in the city. Unlike Banbury, which is a little town where you go right through the centre of it, when the Oxford ends, it ends in sort of like an industrial estate. It's not the prettiest. And going down there through Oxford, it's been built up. It's not like I go through any of the city centre. You have to walk to the city centre from the end of the Oxford. So while I videoed it and went down there, and it was an experience to say that I've been at the end of the Oxford Canal, because look like now, especially, I'm going back up it in the next, when they open the locks, because they've lifted the restrictions because all the locks are shut again, so because there's no water here. When I do eventually turn around. But yeah, Oxford was a bit of a disappointment, and then I decided to turn towards and go onto the Thames, which I did to a place called Kingslock, which is sort of around the point where you decide whether you go to a place called Lechlade, which is in the Cotswolds, along the Thames, which if I did go to Lechlade, it goes right to the end of the Thames, which is somewhere in the Gloucestershire, I think. Lechlade's Gloucestershire, maybe? Gloucestershire? Possibly. And then it just stops. That's the end of the Thames. And I sort of debated on going on further on the Thames, and in the end, with all they were limiting locks on the Thames to 2 hours a day, and I thought it's not where I really want to be caught because of there's only 2-day moorings on the Thames, and you have to pay like £10 a night for some of them. There's no moorings on the Thames, but oh, he's back. He's back. Here he is. Here he is. Can you see him? Can you? There he is. You see there? Hey, buddy. See? Yeah. Look at this. What are you doing? What are you doing? See, this is the thing. I now have a pigeon. Let's just leave you there while I finish that story. Look at him. Look at him. Unbelievable. I'm in the shade. Yeah, I'll just leave him there. I'll leave him in shot while I'm talking. It might be a she, I don't know. If I open that window, you're in. And then you're on my head. So, yeah, I did get on the Thames, Julie. And then I got off the Thames. and then I left the Thames because the limitations with the locks and restrictions on mooring. So I'm currently just in between the Thames turnoff outside of Oxford. I'm about 1.5 miles from the city centre, but I'm back. I'm on the Oxford Canal, pointed in the other direction now. I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing here. I don't know what he's trying to do. But yeah, so it's a bit like I'm in limbo up here and I'm in limbo in Devon. I haven't been able to escape authoritarian things at the moment. It's not gone my way as such. But anyway, have you had enough of the pigeon, buddy? Go home. No, don't tap. No, don't tap my window. Tap my window. Right. Anyway, what have we got here? In red tape, says Ray. Yes, it is. Do you think this one has red tape? Do you think he's got any red tape? Huh? I don't think he's got any red tape. He's as free as a bird. Literally. I saw your short on Bicester. Looked awful. Bicester Village. Oh, Julie. Bicester. Mate, you can't get... Shall I just take the window out and let him in? Should I let him in? Go home. Bicester Village was awful, Julie. It was absolutely awful. Let's swing you back round. Let's ignore the pigeon. I think giving him screen time is probably making him stay longer. Bicester Village is absolutely awful. It was frightening, actually, of how... I don't know. You got to be careful how you say it, but let's just say when you hear about demographics and you hear about the struggling people, like probably 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, this may have been a lot more of the case. But when you hear about these, societal labeling of who's struggling the most, it's white people now. It's white. You look at the GCSE results. You look at like the biggest sort of underprivileged sort of demographic now, I believe, are like 7 to 14-year-old boys. They're just not getting the education, not getting the chances. They're not getting the jobs when they come out of school. And they're white, all white. And anyway, it's there. It's as clear as day. If you want to look into the stats and figures and then be shocked or just go into ignorance at it, because that's what most people do. Or if you don't get labelled far right. So anyway, Bicester Village, absolute shithole. Would never go back there. It felt like Little Dubai. It literally was Little Dubai. That video depressed me. And I wanted to flock to my people at the retail parks and home bargains and to feel a sense of connection, because I certainly didn't get it from Bicester Village. So Bicester Village, up yours. Anyway, that's as much politics as I'm going to go into tonight. Julie said, Julie's awful. Spent many a day tossing myself off the bridge in Lechlade. I've said too much. Have you? Lechlade, it looks lovely. It looks lovely, doesn't it? Old school. It looks lovely, Lechlade. It's very Cotswoldy, you know. And I think what's going to happen, as I've debated what to do so long now. And I was going. Originally, I came down here to go on the K&A, but I heard horror stories about the K&A at Reading. I heard horror stories way before some of the locks were shut on the Oxford. So I thought, right, okay, that's postponed. I'm not going on the K&A in low water, especially at the start. So I wasn't going from Oxford to Reading to the K&A. And then I looked and I thought, how about I go towards London on the Thames? Like places like Ealing, not Ealing, Henley on Thames, Abingdon on Thames, Windsor, all these places and I'd seen people on narrowboats doing that, and you go past all these affluent homes, you got the King's Land everywhere. It's just very hoity-toity, as you'd expect from that part of Kingston on Thames, all of those. But the reason I was thinking of going towards London is because you can actually hop on to the Grand Union Canal in a place called Brentford, I think. And you can go up the Grand Union, and in theory, because of the situation in Devon and me having to go there now, I thought, well, I'm headed back to North Kilworth. I don't want to go up the same way on the Oxford as I just did. I want to see some different things. And if I do a full circle and kind of go back up to the Midlands via the Grand Union Canal at Brentford, it would be different. However, it turns out that you would be on the tidal Thames. At the moment, I'm on the non-tidal Thames. The tidal Thames require a UHF radio, a certificate in how to use one. Why you can't just take a mobile phone and say, "Hello, is Thames? Yes, I'm drowning. Could you save me?" I'm sorry, mate. You should be using a VHF phone from 1971. But apparently, it's ruled that you need a marine communication system to be able to be on that in case something goes wrong, which is probably what the Coast Guard are clued into that sort of CB radio, I guess. But it turned out to be a logistical nightmare. I'd have to get somebody to pilot with me as I get closer to the tidal area, which I believe, I might be wrong here, Teddington Lock, which is a huge weir lock on the Thames, can take like 6 boats in this one lock. And I think once you get to that, then I think that is where the tidal starts. I might be wrong. Maybe it's Windsor when it's tidal. It's one of those anyway, when it suddenly becomes tidal, and it's so that put pay to that, because I haven't got the money to do that, and I eventually I will. So my only option was to go back the way I came, and at the moment I can't do that either because the locks are shut. So, but what I'm thinking of doing now is going back down to that point where the Thames, I either go left or right. Left takes me down towards Reading, or right takes me to Lechlade, and to do that first leg of the Thames, which is non-tidal, and just basically spend the next 2 weeks heading down that direction, and stopping in where I can. But I know I'm going to be faced with mooring fees, so it's like how much I want to spend, because there's some lovely moorings down there, but they're like £10 a night. But at the end of the day, I can't go back up the Oxford because it's shut. So until they open, I've got to find something in the area to do. Why not go to where the Thames ends? It would be interesting. So I think that's what I'm going to do in the next week, is to head down towards Lechlade in the Cotswolds. I can't afford a marina, because a marina in the Cotswolds, let's just say, for what I spent at North Kilworth Wharf for 4 months in the winter, And what I paid for 4 months to moor at a wharf in the winter is the price of 1 month in the summer in Lechlade. Buddy, are you going to go away now? Are you going to stay there all night tapping away? So yeah, there is that, and I can't do that. So yeah, I can't afford it. So if anybody out there wants to donate about 650 quid to Major Dobby's cat, I promise it will go to a good cause, a marina for a month in Lechlade. I can't afford it. I did like your comment then about spending many a days tossing myself off the bridge. I've heard of a pigeon fancier, but never been fancied by a pigeon. Yes, let him in. If I let him in. Right, just for the sake of the stream, I'm going to let this bloody pigeon in. Right, here we go. Watch this. Yeah, watch this space. Right, let me go to that. He's going to be on my head, isn't he? He's going to be on my head when I do this. Good thing about having a narrowboat is you can open up the window. Come in then. Oh, they weigh a bloody ton because they're double glazing. Oh my god, that weighs a ton. I don't normally take the big ones out unless it's really hot. But he's gonna fly over on my head. I know he will. Go on then. Go on then. I'll be a friggin' pirate from the night. Buddy. You can look, he's pecking me. That's all he wants to do is bite me. That's the kindness I get when he You're on a live stream on YouTube, mate. Look, live stream. Whatever the fuck he wants to do. Anyway, I'll leave that bit there. So he can come in if he wants. Lechlade was Lechlade was the spot for river jumping, swimming for many around the southwest come a hot day. That bridge was legend. Oh right, okay, old school. Yeah, let me get me focusing on me. I'll focus on the pigeon. It's probably more interesting. Will the pigeon come in and shit all over my boat, or won't he? Teddington Lock makes me think of Tiswas. Brave fellow. Hello, Tony Baloney. Tony Baloney. Hello from the banks of the Oxford /Thames /Pigeon. He's hungry. I fed him, Julie. I've got some. I had these little so I had bird feeders when I'm out and about, and I put these little dried maggots in these bird feeders, and they love them. And I had some of that, and he's eaten some of that. And he also ate some soggy bread as well, which I left on the gunnel, and he's cleared that. So I don't think he's hungry anymore. I don't really know what you want, mate. And I don't think you know what you want either. You want to come in? Come on then. He can't work it out. He can't work it out because he was sort of like just on my back outside. He's not really coming. He's not really coming. He's just chilling out, I think. But yeah, he's probably thinking that doesn't look very comfortable. But I also don't want him to peck my expensive sofa there. Space Dog 321. I wouldn't let him in. All vermin in my living space could carry mites, parasites, diseases, or shit on my things. You can choose. This is the thing. I mean, I generally don't. I'm probably doing this specifically because it makes this stream more interesting, and I'll risk parasites, bugs, and shitting all over my fucking CDs just so I've got something to talk about. It's been so long since I did a stream in here. I don't know what to talk about. Let's just talk about you, mate. Let's make it all about you. You're a parasite carrier, mate. Is that what it is? You're a parasite carrier. Hey. Yeah. Anyway, he's quite happy to sit on the window by the looks of it. Major Dobby's pigeon incoming. Break. Oh. Do you remember the 80s? Yes, Pigeon Street. Pigeon Street. Hold on a second, Justin. Hold on a second. Let's be careful here because you get copyrights because YouTube hasn't changed. Let's make this a bit more interesting. Right, here we go. Let's go to the browser window. And let's go to... Gives me a second to do this. Let's go to that. And let's go to this. And play that. And then go to this.
Here are the people you could meet. Here are the people who would share the sights, the sounds, the air. Where pigeons beat their wings, wings beat. Pigeons beat their wings, wings beat to meet in Pigeon Street.
Muted? How long have I been muted for? How long have I been muted for? Fucking hell, terrible. I muted it because I didn't want the sound coming out of the thing. Ray. So I was saying, if I go into reverse, I had to mute that because you'd get the sound of me coming out of the PC. Hold on a second. Let me flick that over. It's very complicated. It's a very complicated procedure. Quite often, I get things wrong because there's so many things you have to switch back and forward. It's so frustrating. That's not that. You shouldn't hear my voice now. You shouldn't hear my voice coming out on the speakers. So I was reading your comments, and they were making me laugh. I'm going to go back to them again because obviously you didn't hear what I was saying. Pigeons eat quite a bit. I throw some bread out every morning for the sparrows, and a wood pigeon often flies in, and he hoovers the grub up in quick double time, says Ray. Stop the pigeon now. Nostalgia. I was saying, Tony, I can't name the pigeon, mate, because if I name the pigeon, he's going to end up following me everywhere I go. I don't really want... He's really comfortable just chilling there with his feet. I don't really want to name him because I don't want a pet. But I hope he's a nice time on the stream. He's famous now. Pigeon Street in a long time, says Space Dog 321. And I was saying, Justin, it is no shortening the wheelies, but thank God it isn't, because that used to freak me out as a kid. The triangle face witch and her minions used to freak me out. Muted, not muted anymore. Read your bloody chat, boomer balls. That was worth going mute just for that insult, old school. Boomer balls, yes, correct. Tony, oh my. Yeah, Tony Baloney. I knew I'd taken lip sync classes, says Ray. Oh my God, muted, said old school. And now everyone's back. Everyone's back. I'm glad everyone stayed for that, because even muted, I'm still fascinated. It's just something that I have. It's a power that I have over people. Even deaf people are fixated to me. Even deaf people who can't read lips. Pidge done it. Since the end of the video. Yeah. I had to mute it, otherwise you'll get an echo. He's roosted for the evening. He's sort of trying to come in. Mate, you ain't coming in. Hold on, let me see whether he'll eat some friggin' bread, and he might bugger off. Hold on. He's eating half of the friggin' food anyway. Right, have a bit of bread. Don't jump up on me. I don't think he's going to eat anything. I don't know. He doesn't want it. Oh, you little dirty bastard. You're going to pick that up? It's too big for his gob and he just spat it out. Here. None of it's going in, mate. You're just throwing it on the floor. Yeah. No. There. That was a bad idea. Just spitting out bread on my floor. I'm very fussy about who I let into my boat, mate. And I don't normally let feathered people in. The last one in here was a greenfinch, and he buggered off after 2 days because I couldn't look after him. Pidge wants your soul, says Tony Baloney. Yeah, I think that's what it's feeling like, Tony. Yeah. He's not after any bread because he's just throwing it on the floor. He'll follow you to Torbay, says Ray. We've been feeding the birds seed and water. Been lovely having the garden floor teeming with them. It is lovely. Four Feather Falls. That's a good name, right? Tony. I like that. Four Feather Falls. I think even when I rub his, he's still. What? But ow! You little bitch! Oh, you little bitch. I think he's confused me with a mate. I think that's what happens. I think he's probably. I hope he doesn't fancy me or she. I don't know. I work it out. Yeah, there is food there. That's water. He's looking, thinking, is that water? It's ginger and lemonade. Do you want some? Oh. No, you're not having that. I don't know. I don't know what you want. I can't work it out. That's why I'd be never a good father. So you say. I remember Michael Bentine. I didn't have a clue what was going on. Michael Bentine. Potty time, wasn't it? Was that potty time, Judy? I think it was potty time. He was an interesting bloke. Lots of military intelligence background, as most had. Interesting. Yeah, Michael Bentine, potty time. I think he was also in something else in the early 80s. Or lent his voice to something else in the early 80s. I'm not sure what it was. If I put this outside, will you eat that outside? Nah. I don't know what to do with the pigeon. He doesn't seem to want to come in, but when I go to shut that window, I don't want to trap his leg, so I've got to make sure he's. I'll probably have to pick him up and take him out that way, unless he decides to fly off. I don't know. He's quite happy just to grip hold of the where the window is. He's quite happy just to go along the window frame for some reason. Was he from Peru? That was no. That was Paddington Bear was from Peru. Yeah, Paddington Bear was Peru, wasn't he? Yeah, I'd fly away now, mate. Turn that way and go and fly somewhere. Come back tomorrow or something. She's dropping feathers in here. I think maybe what's happened is some boaters, as they may moor in the area and they may befriend a pigeon here for a couple of weeks, and I think maybe this one's just got a little bit too friendly with boaters. Possibly begins to think that he can come in and out of somebody's boat and not worry and have no repercussions. But what was I going to do? I know what I was going to do. Give me 1 second. I've got I used to love playing clips on these streams, but I can't do it anymore because of the copyright thing. So I have to watch what I play. That was always a frustrating aspect of YouTube. TikTok, you can play what you want. No one seems to give a damn on TikTok. I was playing music the other day while I did a stream, and you know, music. I don't know why theirs is kind of, the Chinese don't care. I don't know. Can't do it. You can't do. You can play, like, I could play the Beatles on a stream in TikTok, but they'll be fine. But if I vape, they will say it's a product advertisement, and they will limit its audience. So there's some really weird things with TikTok that you can and what you can't do, and it's slightly frustrating. Let's go to history. I've got a video that I come across. So I've been watching. Right, now this is something. Let's get this channel off of the pigeon talk. And onto something that I've been recently watching a lot of. I started in 1992 for no apparent reason, and I went through to 1994, so that was 24 episodes. Actually, it's not, because they break from, I think they break from May, June, July, August, September. So 4 of those. So I've ended up going through 16 episodes, and now I've gone back to 1990. I don't know why I started in 1992, but I've gone back to 1990. I'm watching Crime Watch. It sounds a bit strange, but I'm watching Crime Watch, a show that once had the power to captivate audiences to the point where you'd have 16 million people watching every month would be a Crime Watch, and you'd watch Sue Cook or Nick Ross, Sue Cook, what's he called, Jill Dando, the fated Jill Dando. I don't watch Fiona Armstrong. I don't like Fiona Armstrong. She was stuck up. I worked on Crime Watch as well, 2003, and that was Fiona Armstrong and Nick Ross. Nick Ross was a legend. I worked with on a work experience. It was. Anyway, I always had a fondness for Crime Watch. So going back over, I will summarise really quickly without going into too much depth. Going over some of the crimes, and then now having the benefit of the internet, when they finish, it's like playing serial killer bingo. It's a terrible thing to even consider that exists. It doesn't. It's just something that made up in my head. But you go back over the crimes and see, surprisingly, just how inept the police are at capturing murderers and rapists. Because a lot of the time, I'd say a good 6 or 7 times out of 10, it remains unsolved, and it's quite worrying when you look back and you think there's a lot of unsolved crime going on in this country. Thanks to Crime Watch, thanks to watching Crime Watch from 30 years ago, I can see just how little the police do. Thanks, police. But yeah, when you type in, you watch one and you're like, oh god, that's an horrific murder. Murder of an 84-year-old woman in a. And you think, oh God, I hope they caught that. But no, unsolved. And it's like, it's a real concern. You better not be shitting in here, mate. Hey. So yeah, I've been going over Crime Watches, and if it is one thing, it is slightly concerning just how few some of these crimes have been solved. So. But it is fascinating. Somebody's uploaded the Red Card, I think it is, their YouTube channel. And the reason I bring that up is because both me and my mate, we discussed this. He watched them during lockdown. He discovered them during lockdown. He said he sort of went to Crime Watch because he refused to go to all the numerous podcasts of true crime which are out and about now, and they are. It's saturated the podcast market with true crime. But we were in this deep conversation about how the reconstructions made us feel. What was it I was saying? I don't want to paraphrase. I want to find the actual message. Oh, I should have. I did again. I never prepare things, but it was. He said, I think he thought that Nick would be a genuinely fascinating guy to interview. I think he said quite a few contentious things about the Beeb after Crime Watch was axed. And then he asked me about, of course, why it was axed. And all he went on to sort of say, it was patterns. That's why Crime Watch was axed. Was the patterns that you'd be left with today. Can you imagine what that would be like? Can you imagine if Crime Watch was still going and the BBC would? I mean, it kind of goes against, the Crime Watch would be seen as some kind of like spouting point for Nigel Farage or something. But you can imagine patterns being a reason why it was axed. Anyway, that's just food for thought. And then I put he said, let's just say statistical pattern recognition. That's what would, and then I basically was talking about, it was definitely a must-watch program for me back in the day. From an early age, I think by the late 90s, I'd lost a bit of interest. I remember the reconstructions becoming more gratuitous and flashy. And that was a part of the reason why I'm enjoying watching these ones from the early 90s. I don't want insects flying around. I'm going to shut that window, mate. You're letting insects in. I said, I really do think that when it becomes flashy and more money that went into it, it sort of takes away. What I said is this. I think he said it actually. Something about how it was filmed was so simplistic. There's nothing flashy to the reconstructions, and it's not all. It's here's what he said. They exert a fascination still. Thankfully, there's a few that have been solved in recent years thanks to DNA matches. So some of the DNA stuff, the technology it's definitely helped catch some people, long cases that have been, unsolved for. Is what I also like how quite a few victims back then, amongst the usual prostitutes, etc., seemed to be obviously flash, aspiring yuppie types who'd obviously borrowed money from shady characters. But we, the viewer, haven't got all the information. I remember searching a few of them, and there's quite a few Del Boy types. It transpires were obviously dabbling in the fringes of organised crime, but it's the strange, unfathomable murders of old people and kids that really get under your skin. And then I responded by saying the most recent episode I just watched backs this statement up. There was somebody who was who was the voiceover of the person who the crime had happened to, were in a suit, drove a Porsche, and this line was, "I rarely go to the supermarket, maybe twice a year. I'm just too busy to cook and nearly always eat out." If that is, it just defines the 90s. It just defines the 90s. Thatcher certainly played a huge part in her upbringing. "I'm a self-made man with a man-made woman and considerably richer than yo," is a line that I quoted from Harry Enfield. "I'm considerably richer than thou." What else? What else we were chatting about? It was very interesting. Talking about how it was filmed. I love what he said about how it was filmed. The Nick Ross, wanting to contact Nick Ross would be interesting, because I don't think he holds the BBC in very good light, should we say. I think he left questioning why the show was axed, because they did so many good things, but pattern recognition, quite possibly. Anyway, I'll just pause for thought about the rarity of video recordings back in 1994. This brought up, this is what I want to show you. It's a 29-second clip. I'm hoping that you'll be able to see this in the browser. 1 second. Here, you can see it. Let's make sure the audio comes out, although it doesn't matter about the audio. This is in a WhatsApp, so it's not on YouTube. Oh, come on. Right, go to that, and let's play that.
The only option then was to turn round, and by the time I'd got round, which was fairly quick anyway, the Cosworth was stopped.
It's this footage now. Amateur video. Brief second. That for that bit. Now, I read a lot of stuff into things, but let's go back to that again. Now, Crime Watch, I've come across a couple of reconstructions where they use actual footage that was recorded. It would have been a camcorder. Somebody out with their parents on the day, I don't know, 1994. An armed robbery takes place. They film a 3 or 4 second clip of a car going past, speeding through the city centre on their camcorder. They send it into Crime Watch. Crime Watch insert it, actual footage, into a reconstruction. The juxtaposition between the reconstruction and the actual footage, it flows beautifully. However, later on, when reconstructions went all high tech and shooting with drones and digital this and digital that, you wouldn't have been able to insert actual footage. It wouldn't have. It would have looked. It wouldn't have looked. But it flew. It went in seamlessly, and it's absolutely fascinating. That 3 seconds of that person who had that camcorder. It's more fascinating than 150 people standing around a robbery today filming with an iPhone. You know, filming with an iPhone today, you're likely to get that 150 people, 150 shots of different angles. You know, it's a bit like the whole World Trade Center and the planes. You know, why people go mad for the footage, because we didn't have all of this tech then. But when you see actual footage inserted into Crime Watch reconstructions that are from like camcorders, there's something about that, and I can't quite put it into words. But I'll show that. I will show that again, just because it was quite quick.
An armed robbery. The only option then was to turn round, and by the time I'd got round,
So this is all
which was fairly quick
reconstruction now.
anyway,
This
the
reconstruction.
Cosworth was stopped.
See the policeman running up behind it then? I mean, if I was back in my university days, I'm pretty sure I could write a 5,000 word essay on that 3.5 second clip. It's in there. I do have the knowledge of how you would put that into words, but anyway, I don't want to talk about it because some people might be already bored by the Crime Watch. But when you go back over old Crime Watches, and you take in the reconstructions, they take in the music. They don't worry about copyright, so you hear lots of dance music from the early 90s. You see the fashions of the people of the time. The reproductions of the fashions of the victims that may have been, wearing a unique piece of clothing, and then they, reproduce it for the reconstruction. There's a lot of work that went into those, and there's something simplistic in how they tell a story, the reconstructions, in how they tell a story. There's no flashy camera work. There's no special post-production editing effects. There's none of that. There is just pure drama in a reconstruction that at its very essence is simple and yet effective. And I think that is what has attracted me to watching the Crime Watches. That, and also doing the research after you watch it and think, did they ever catch that person? Did they ever catch this person? The wealth of information that we have out there is fascinating. I just wanted to mention that's been a big part of my last 2 weeks. I've watched a lot of Crime Watches, so much so that when I was walking down the street the other morning at 6 a.m, walking to get my car, I was walking along the canal, and I had Nick Ross's voiceover in my head, and I was saying, and he was saying something like, police would like to identify this man who was seen walking along the canal at 6 a.m. He may not have anything to do with the crime, but if we could just get that person to ring in and eliminate himself from the investigation. I could hear that in my head as I'm walking along the towpath, because it's the sort of thing where a crime might have happened. The canal, let's face it, it ended Dirty Den's life, didn't it? Actually, he came back though, didn't he? Mate, I'm going to have to shut this window. We're getting some insects in here now. Give me a second, guys. I'll come back to your comments. I've got to get this pigeon out. That's the window. Mate. You can't be in here. You can't be in here. You got to go. Because I got to put the window up. Come on. There you go. There you go. Right, you're going on the roof. You can no, you don't bite me. Don't bite me. Go on the roof. Go on. Before you come back in, put the window up. There we go. Night night. Bye bye. Bye bye, little bird. See you in the morning. I'm sure that little bastard's going to follow me everywhere I go now. Oh. So what are some of your comments? I hope you enjoyed that little thing about Crime Watch. There's a lot of information there. A lot of thoughts have been going through my head with like watching a program like that, as they always do. I talk old kids telly, but no one's old enough. Michael Benting's Potty Time. Larry the Lamb says Old School 4. Pidge Wants Your Soul, says Tony Baloney. Four Feather Falls. I love that, Tony. Four Feather Falls. That just sounds like a TV series from the 90s. I love that. I remember Michael Benteen, interesting bloke. Was he from Peru? Four Feather Falls, from creator of Thunderbirds from the 50s. Maybe I went back too far. Oh, so it is actually, Tony, it is actually a program. I didn't know that. In fact, I know Paul Anderson. Is it Paul Anderson? No, Jerry Anderson. Jerry Anderson created Thunderbirds and Stingray, and I must admit I've never been a Thunderbirds or Stingray fan, and I don't really know much about Jerry Anderson other than Space 1999, which I did enjoy as a kid. I'm pretty sure Jerry Anderson did that, although again I might be wrong. Yes, lots of voiceover stuff. Like another favourite of mine, Anthony Valentine, voice of Turkish Delight. Fry's Turkish Delight, full of Eastern promise. Yes, Benting was born in Watford, but Peruvian parents. That's interesting. Well, his dad was anyway, says Old School 4. I was watching a few of them today too. It's Julie Ash. Was that the Crime Watch? Julie? I did chuckle at Thrills Galore. Weren't you on Crime Watch in illegal capacity, of course? Yes. 2002. If you go to the episode, you'll see me in the background because I was answering phone calls during the Crime Watch show. You'll see me in the background, but you might not recognise me. Actually, you probably will, because this is a really tall fucking bloke, excuse my language, just sitting silhouetted behind one of the police inspectors in the first reconstruction chat about. But yes, I was on it. I did 6 weeks on Crime Watch. Raffles is a good one, but Anthony Valentine. I love Anthony Valentine, Ray. Great actor. Crimes on Crime Watch were rare as these days, every 2 hours. It's probably, again, it would be an interesting discussion as to why the BBC axed it. I say I don't know. I sort of agree with my mate about Patton. I think that is definitely something that would have worried the diversity lot at the BBC when it was being aired. I think they may have been worried about every week it was the same kind of photo fits popping up. Who knows? I don't know. Perhaps there'll be a reconstruction about the disappearance of Monty, the champion pigeon that went missing. Is that maybe Monty? He's outside my window. We were never axed. That's a good line, Old School. We were never axed. We were never asked. Questioning the merits of the BBC? Surely not, says Ray. Surely not. Major's back in town. Says Alan Hargreaves. Hello, Alan. Sorry it's taken me this long to get to, but I was on a rant. I was on the thing about Crime Watch, talking about Crime Watch. Hey up, Alan, says Old School. Damn, this was hidden from me. I was keeping alert for this. Too. A pigeon has come in. Crime Watch is a fascinating and riveting television, says Justin. There was a period of time when I never missed an episode. I hadn't thought about the show for quite some time. They were. I mean, you're of the same sort of age, so I mean, growing up, I think Crime Watch started in 83, 84, so I would have been 9 or 10, and I watched it from day one. And they were drawing in figures of, like, when I looked them up in the BBC genome, I was looking up because you can get all the stats. You see how many people were viewing it in the mid to late 90s when it was at its arguably most popular. You were looking at 16 to 18 million people a month were watching it. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. So the popularity of it just soared and soared, and I think as it went into, I can't say it was the the budget or the way they did things. Or I know that they got a bit more graphic. There may have been a pressure to not exploited crime, because I don't think Nick Ross would have stayed on for as long as he's a man with morals, is old Nick Ross. I don't think that, but it certainly had the production visibly different in the 2000s. And having worked on a reconstruction, the Cambridge Spear attack, that's what the official one was. It was a horrible thing where a bunch of guys broke in to an old people's. They were all like related. I think it was two brothers and a sister, and they were in their 80s and 90s. And these goons burst through the door with a spear and start like stabbing it into furniture, asking them where their savings were. It's a pretty heinous thing to do. But being a part of that reconstruction and seeing how the production was on that, it was eye-opening. It was interesting to see how they do that. We have a small window of time to get that in, research it. You research the crime. You speak to the victims or the people of the victim, and then you go into production of the reconstruction. And then the last part of it is in the studio preparing for taking down all the information that comes through in emails and phone calls and text messages after you broadcast the reconstruction. So it was quite an intense 4 or 5 weeks working with Crime Watch, and it was very interesting to see how they do it. So I have that. I did a case study on it as well, which was quite interesting. So reminds me of Steve Irwin. No biting. Alan says, this is where you belong, Major, in front of the people. Do you think, Alan? Did you miss me? I don't know. Sometimes I feel exhausted by social media and doing things, and other times, like I've really taken a step back now from social media. I've got TikTok and YouTube, and I haven't posted anything on TikTok in a couple of weeks. So maybe a few videos of an old stream. I'm trying to generate a bit of interest in the stream, because I think if there's one thing, and I know me and Old School have talked about this, that there's one thing I'd like to bring back is a regular stream. I'm a little bit bleached out. Let me bring this light down a bit. No, not up. There we go. Oh, that's too much. There we go. There's one thing I'd like to do is to bring back a regular stream, but saying that, and I don't know how, I can't do a live stream as such from my mum's house, and it looks like I'm going to be spending a vast amount of time down in Devon because of this predicament that I find myself in at the moment. So can't say the streams. I think to do them more often, and I appreciate you saying that, Alan. I really do. I appreciate you saying that. I will try and do them more often. So true. I only like Captain Scarlet. Captain Scarlet. Caught up with Space 99 as an adult. Pattern recognition. That's it, Alan. Crime Watch and Victor Meldrew. I actually watched that episode of One Foot in the Grave recently. One with the somebody dumps the 2CV in his skip. Still one of the funniest things, I think, on television. I know everyone always talks about Only Fools and Horses and Fawlty Towers and stuff, but there's some the great use of pathos that David Renwick creates in One Foot in the Grave. You know, the pathos of Victor Meldrew. Jeez. It's so funny as well. Like, you feel his pain, but you just laugh hysterically at the situations. And then the fact that, the 2CV is in the skip, but the cream of the cake, I mean, Renwick goes even further, but the cream of the cake is the mattress inside the 2CV. I mean, that's genius comedy writing right there. David Renwick, Jimmy McGovern. In fact, I've said it before, David Renwick and Jimmy McGovern, two of the finest writers that this country's ever had in television. Yeah, we won't get days like that back. Well, we haven't. Look at the shite that we have. The 90s was the last decade, I think. Yeah, Mage, your channel is great. I'm fairly new here. Great program. Social media is great. Every once in a blue moon, never regular for me. Becomes negative overall. Thank you, Space Dog 321. I appreciate your positive comment there, mate. I really do. I don't do it for. I may have at one point tried to drum up interest in talking about old television with my audience, but what it became was a comfortable enjoyment of speaking to the regular subscribers who did join me for those regular streams, and it was for well over a year, every Saturday at like 8 o'clock. And I really spent a lot of time trying to generate new people to come in and maybe interact with about the programs I was posting. But then when that didn't work, I didn't bash my head against the wall too much. I know that there is a vast amount of people out there that just enjoy the content I upload, and they're not going to generally sit here and listen to a old man moan and groan or talk about the importance of a Crime Watch reconstruction. I don't think. But at the end of the day, yeah, social media is a bit of it's something I love or hate, love and hate. The last episode with the Travelling Wilburys music will never be forgotten. Poor Victor. Those are the halcyon days, Major. They were, mate. They were. Think about how One Foot in the Grave ended. They actually killed off the main character in such a fashion that it was shocking. It was absolutely shocking. But I was so impressed with the fact that they did that Renwick did that it'd come a time where I guess Victor Meldrew could have been a stereotype, and I think Renwick had seen that, and it was getting more and more farcical. And I think he just wanted to. That was it. He never wanted to go back to it. And I know that he went on to Jonathan Creek, which is another fine. If you like your that was cozy detective series. That was so warming and wholesome. I haven't watched all of those. I must admit, it's not quite my bag. But I appreciate the writing. I think they were expertly written murder mysteries. I mean, Renwick's clearly showed a passion and a love for the genre of murder mystery. And Jonathan Creek, when it was up and running, was getting huge views. I just think it's quite brave for a writer to do that to a character in this day and age where there's pressure to maintain it and get more views and keep the series going, dragging on something on for longer than it should. And I think we take our hats off to old Renwick for killing off poor old Victor. But the release for Margaret, I think the empathy and passion between Victor and Margaret is something that many people talk about. But I think that was a brilliant final episode for Margaret. I think Bennett Crosby nailed that part, and was very touching. And it was a very touching ending, and to a wonderful series. But yeah, One Foot in the Grave. Yes, lovely to have programs to watch on this channel. Interesting stream chat. Cheers. Thank you, Space Dog 321. There'll be more of them, I promise. I'm probably going to be jumping off shortly within the next 10 minutes. But yeah, I think I might clip the Crime Watch part. There's a lot to say about Crime Watch, and I would love people to. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's old television, and it's very, very easy to watch and digest in 45-minute segments. Never watched the update that much. Never did stay up at the time for the updates. But I think even there's a channel out there that even puts the updates of Crime Watch. There's no real reason to do that though on YouTube, because the update is your research after you've watched the episode. You've got a better, in an hour of an update or 25 years of an update. So So you can kind of see how it progressed or how it didn't progress in many cases, which is slightly worrying that there are so many unsolved murders out there that never seem to come up that much. But yeah, there is that. Alan says, 1 foot in the grave got him through the grief of my father's death. Seriously. Was that seriously your shows? Me? Or are you still talking about... Oh my God, that would be... If that's true, Alan, then humbled. I mean, I don't know what I did, but I know that losing your dad, losing my mum and dad over the last 10 years has been... I think sometimes the streams actually help me mentally anyway, Alan. So on a selfish point of view, they were helping me as well, because sometimes it was a lot of the streams were coming straight after I lost my mum. So and after caring for her for a couple of years, so they helped me mentally as well. But yeah, I'm humbled, Alan. Genuinely humbled. Thank you, mate. I'm glad I helped in some way. Modern TV is crap now. Can't find much I like. Very true, Ray. Modern TV is... What have I watched recently? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Talk about social media and how it can project. I swear there's people out there being paid to promote television nowadays. There's a series out there. I've mixed emotions about this actress in it. I've always had mixed emotions about her, but I love the series Mandy. It's the same actress, and she just has everywhere on social media, on TikTok. I would see clips of Android, and I would see these clips, and I would think, with Diane Morgan, I hated her as Philomena Gunk. Carried on apart way too long. And when my mate said, try Mandy, you'll love it. And I said, I don't watch many new things, mate. And he says, they're only 10 minutes long. They're brilliant. And I watched them, and I watched all of them, and I thought they were comedy gold. I loved Mandy. And so I suddenly had this new thing. And then I watched Who's Laughing Now? Is it Who's Laughing Now? I watched it because Bob Mortimer was in it, but I love Bob Mortimer. Actually, Gone Fishing. There's something today that really appeals to me, and I'm going through that series. But that's not what I'm talking about now. Gone Fishing is wonderful, wonderful. It's like The Detectorists again. It's like beautiful scenery, and scenery I often recognise with the sort of scenery that I surround myself in. So it's very peaceful. But anyway, Diane Morgan in Android has to be some of the worst writing, some of the worst writing that I've come across, and it's generally towards the hatred for men in that series, and the uselessness of the son, and how poorly he's written. It was getting on my nerves. From episode 1, I was like, who's this cuck, and he is a cuck. He's a cuck son. He's awful. The writing for his part in particular is some of the worst I've seen. I mean, he's even he's got his fiance or his wife is having an affair with a fitness instructor who's the opposite of, who's another stereotype, a masculine, stereotypical toxic masculinity male, and then you have him, the cuck son. And I use the word cuck, and I don't know whether people know what that means, but I associate it with allowing your wife to have sex with another man while you sit there in a chair and watch them. I don't think I should go into that anymore. But it's so bad writing, and yet everyone was talking about Android. Admittedly, I'm seeing more kickback to this son. Everyone's saying, yeah, more of Android, but get rid of that useless son. And I've seen it defended as though he's useless because he's the whole reason why he didn't want to help his mum. He wanted to get an android because he's useless. And it's like, no, it's just really, really bad writing from. Diane Morgan wrote it as well. I mean, the two leads, Sue Johnston, great actress, not going to deny that, great actress, and Diane Morgan's performance, it's very good. It's very good as the android, but the writing is dire, and this is what people are raving about today. And I just think, look at the gap between quality of something like One Foot in the Grave and Android. And it's just a gulf. It's a gulf. It's just absolute shite. Absolute shite. Anyway, that's Android covered. Yeah, Paul Victor. Let me go a bit. Endless franchise spirals. Modern TV and reboots, remakes. Yawn, says Space Dog. Yawn indeed, Space Dog. Paggles. Yes, and they killed him in Shawford near Winchester, I think. Richard Wilson. Well, not Richard Wilson, but Victor Meldrew. Hello, Paggles. Thanks for joining us, Paggles. Sorry, I'm very slow in getting to some of the comments. I've missed some, and I apologise for that. I've missed some of your comments. That's great. Sitcom, endless franchise. There's a current Channel 4 drama called The Crow Girl, and some of it was filmed where I live, so I thought I'd tune in. I lasted 15 minutes and turned the tripe off, says Ray. 15 minutes on. To be honest, Ray, I mean, other than the fact, yes, it's somewhere where you live. It's Channel 5. If I gave Channel 5 2 minutes of my time, I think I'd be shocked. Well, back in the day when I used to watch telly anyway. Rewind and Together TV are my staples now, says Alan. Space Dog 321 Major, I also have done streams and found them helpful, just nattering, putting thoughts into shape, grounding. True, very true. If there's anything that they do is that it helps mainstream your thought process, which I've just done with kind of the Crime Watch thing. I don't want to keep banging on about that, or I'll try and the thing is, I don't watch much new television, so when I do, I tend to be disappointed by it. I've just watched a series which I missed the first time round. I watched it because it had David Morrissey in it. And I'm a big David Morrissey fan. I think he's a brilliant actor, David Morrissey. And I will watch it. And it was called 7:31. Was it 7? No, David. So it's Train Time. David Morrissey. I downloaded it because it was on a forum that I use. It's from 2013, so we're not talking new by any means. I suppose it was called The 739. It was a 2-part miniseries with David Morrissey, Olivia Colman, who I don't have much experience with, and all the hype that comes with Olivia Colman. I only have Peep Show. That's where I'm a big fan of Peep Show. Sheridan Smith, who never liked in the 90s with the packet of crisps and a pint of lager or whatever it was called. I never found that funny. I thought that was an awful BBC Three show. But saying that, Sheridan Smith has gone on to be in some done some fantastic work. I'm surprised she hasn't worked with Jimmy McGovern. She needs to work with Jimmy McGovern on something, because she'd be great in a Jimmy McGovern production. I'd sort of found her work again. Only last year, she was in an episode of. God, it was moving as hell. It had me in tears. It was an episode. Inside Number 9. I'm trying to find the episode that she was in. Oh God, it was harrowing. It was a wonderful performance from her, and then I was like, I think I was hard on this actress. I think she was great in that. So, and this is going back to something that she did before Inside Number 9. So the episode was the 12 Days of Christine, 2015. That's emotional. That actually had me in tears, that episode. I thought she was absolutely fantastic in that role. Really did affect me, that one. Like a lot of Inside Number 9. Brilliant writing. Brilliant show. But yes, to go back to the 7:39, I'll read the plot out for you. Two commuters, Sally and Carl, find themselves involved in a light-hearted tussle for a seat that unexpectedly leads to a budding friendship. Not the best way of describing it, IMDb, but it's the first episode looks at their meeting, and the second episode looks at them crossing the line from being friends, shall we say, and getting involved in a relationship when David Morrissey is married to Olivia Colman, 2 children. Sheridan Smith is about to get married to her fiance. Other than the fact that her fiance is that guy that I hated the actor. I think he was in EastEnders back in the day, or Grange Hill. What was his name? Sean Maguire. Not a very good actor, Sean Maguire. Anyway, I watched that, and I thought that actually was a very good sort of take on the marriage, on the how much what an affair can do to both parties. But it was quite heartwarming. It was really well written. It was a really well written. I mean, it's got David Morrissey and Olivia Colman in it. I know that they weren't. Well, David Morrissey was, but Olivia Colman was probably not as big as she is today. But the writings there. Sheridan Smith, I thought, was wonderful in it. Sean Maguire was a bit of a. I tell you what, if that was made today, Sean Maguire would be would be represented like Andrew Tate. He was close. It was close to getting that toxic masculinity thing. But this is 2014. You can tell, because anything post 2016, this subject would be handled very differently, and you can tell the writing is more subtle back then than it would be today. But Sean Maguire's character in this, had it been done today, would have been like Andrew Tate. He would have been an Andrew Tate character. I guarantee it. But yeah, I watched that and I was shocked. I was quite shocked that I was watching a riveting drama comedy. And if you do come across it, it might be one that you might enjoy if you never caught it the first time round. It's just 2 episodes. We're not talking a huge amount. I think it was on BBC One. The 7:39. Yeah, 2 hours of your time. 2 hours of your time. David Morrissey, wonderful. Sheridan Smith, wonderful. Great performances from the 2 leads, and Olivia Colman as the put upon wife of David Morrissey. And yet he never really fit, and she does not play the victim. Olivia Colman's I won't ruin it, but I would say that the victim culture thing, the popular thing of always playing the victim, which came probably 2015-16 with the things changed with the Me Too movement and all of that movement, and everyone became the victim again, and things began to be, people like what's she called, feminist Germaine Greer were getting banned from doing talks at Leeds University and things like that. It all went weird in 2016, and everyone seemed to adopt the victim culture again. But I will say that there would have been, nowadays, Olivia Colman's role, she would have been seen as the victim. She's the wife of a husband who's having an affair with a younger woman. She would not have played it the way Olivia Colman plays it in 2014. And she is very good. She's a very strong woman, and I didn't feel. As I said, the only thing that's let it down a little bit is the Sean Maguire. I just think he's not a very good actor, but I also think that they were going down that route of like, for something to change here, we have to make him a bit this way, and I think that's the weakest part in that drama. But doesn't affect the overall message of a very good drama. So if you haven't seen it, I would recommend that. My God, I've been yattering on. I haven't seen your comments. Rewind. I'm going to go back. Jack Hargreaves, No Relation, is a good show. Proper. All TV is terrible propaganda now, says Alan. Jack Hargreaves should be shown in schools as oral history. Should be, Ray. Only new people are seen as good now. Space Dog 321 says, yes, Alan, it's so tiresome when witnessed, then ignore. Just sort of a massive Portaloo fire that just needs to finish burning at this point. I find Portaloo fire, good analogy, Space Dog. That is modern television. It's on its last legs for sure, says Alan. Imagine if most children still had people like Jack Hargreaves to teach them. Absolutely. His programs are a treasure to help future children learn, says Space Dog 321. Valuable comment there. Next up, Only Fools and Horses. Oh, sorry, Only Fools and Camels. Probably. Only Fools and Sheiks. So true, Space Dog. That's only. Can we get a pigeon update? Pigeon update. I don't know. Can you? He's sitting out here. I don't know. I think he might have gone. I can't see him out the window, mate. I think he's gone. He'll be back tomorrow, though. I guarantee it. As soon as I leave, he'll be on my back, flying onto my back. Home to Roost. Home to Roost. That was a John Thor comedy. Reese Dinsdale, if I remember. She was in Benidorm. She was in Benidorm. Sheridan Smith, just remembered that. Yeah, she's really grown on me as an actress. She's really grown on me. Yes, I did watch Benidorm a few years back. Thoroughly enjoyed the absolute nonsenseness of it. Benidorm is a guilty pleasure. I'd like to go back to that again. It's pure escapism, that show. I went right through it. And yes, it does get worse as it gets on, but there's merit in something like that. But yeah, she's very good in that as well, if I remember. I've since changed my mind on Jamie Gillis. I used to hate him. Now I collect all the movies. Jamie Gillis is a porn star, for people who don't know. Jamie Gillis, in one of my favorite pornographic films ever made, which is Henry Paris's 1975 classic, The Opening of Misty Beethoven, which was the first of a porn film to actually cost over $1 million to make. So it's $1 million porn, the very first $1 million porn film that they made, shot on 35mm by a director that had come from working with Fellini, had come from working with Bergman, then changed his name to pseudonym Henry Paris and made some hardcore porn movies that just turned out to be some of the best that were ever made. And Jamie Gillis is in that, where it's a very interesting concept. The concept of the film is Pygmalion. If you know what Pygmalion is, the famous story where they take a commoner and turn her into what's the film? I just know the book, Pygmalion. There's a film. Jesus. Is it Peter O'Toole? I've forgotten the name of the film. Pygmalion. Who's somebody will write the name of that film down. They've probably made 3 or 4 versions of it. But yeah, they in the opening of Misty Beethoven, it follows along the lines of Pygmalion, where they accept Jamie Gillis says that he can turn any prostitute on the street of Paris into one of the most high-class escorts in the world has ever seen, and he can do it by educating her through a series of scenarios. Shall we say it is a porn film? A series of scenarios that open her up, and she begins to be able to act. And then by the end of it, she's like seducing world-class billionaires in Las Vegas casinos. It's a ludicrous movie with a brilliant story, wonderful acting by Jamie Gillis, and Constance Money is the Constance Money is the porn star in that film. But yeah, check it out. Very big budget, and it's just been released. I think it's just been released in America in 4K. UHD. I mean, there's a big love for these films now, because they were shot on 35mm. I not to say that I know too much about it, because I studied it at university. That's why I know a lot about Henry Paris or Radley Metzger. Radley Metzger is where it's at, mate. That's where it's at. The Licorice Quartet is still one of my favourite films ever, by the way, which is a psychedelic, trippy, sexy, erotic film filmed in like the mountains of Italy in the 70s with some of the most outrageous sets you'll ever see committed to film. Radley Metzger's The Licorice Quartet. An erotic duet for 3 people. That's the tagline. Still remember the tagline. An erotic duet for 3. Strange how I remember all this stuff, isn't it? So true. That's can we get pigeon update? We did the pigeon update. Gary Wilmot, underrated, said Old School Fool. Annette Haven. Now that's an actress. Hey, keeping it PG, Alan. Let's not go there. But Annette Haven is a alabaster skinned beauty. That's all I'll say. She's absolute stunning woman. Probably could have had a career with fashion photography had she not gone the other direction. Yeah. Gary Wilmot, underrated. Never seen Idi Amin in anything these days. Would it be guilty or not guilty in the jury series? I'd say clearly guilty, but going back a bit, maybe not. Do you know what, Ray? I don't know, mate. I watch these when I upload them. I like it. I like my staggered release of these shows, because I watch them on the day that they're watched by you. I say he's going to be found guilty. I'd say, I mean, he is guilty. He is guilty. I mean, and he's also really creepy. The actor who plays him is really off-putting. Like, he's really creepy. I would have convicted him. I would have convicted him first sight of him. I'd be like, yeah, that guy's a rapist. He ticks all the boxes. Of course, I would have listened to the case before I make that assumption, but I think he's going to be found guilty. Only Fools and Gibbons, Only Fools and Simians, Fen Street Gang, Middle East Enders. Video Diva, very late to the party, and the first thing I see is a mention of Gary Wilmot. Some things never change, says Video. Hello, Video Diva, how are you? It doesn't matter whether you're late, you're here now. Although I am jumping off once I get to the end of these comments. You know me, Vid. Oh, you know, check out Water Power for fans of the genre. The early Pygmalion with Leslie Howard is the best. What's the name of the famous Pygmalion book? My Fair Lady. My Fair Lady. That's the film I'm trying to think of. My Fair Lady is an adaptation of Pygmalion, where they talk about, taking a commoner and turning them into the upper crust of society and giving them an education and how to, the high society and stuff. But basically, the opening of Misty Beethoven is taking a street prostitute and turning her into the world's best escort. Cultured. How cultured can you get? Sorry to go back old school for, but Anthony Valentine's voiceovers are legend. I found over 100 Kenneth Williams ever mentioned how many he did in his diaries. You said something so funny, Video Diva. I have to mention it now you're in here. that line where you said, I remember watching this. If I remember right, they spend 15 minutes saying hello and buying each other drinks. And the other 15 minutes drinking their drinks and saying goodbye. I thought that was the best summing up of that brilliant I'm glad that's like people have watched that, because I think that's a little treasure of a time and a place, definitely of a time and a place. But your summing up of it was absolutely spot on. I'm glad that I'm glad I watched that. I feel much more. It reminded me of the Royal British Legion in Dartmouth in the 80s, because that's exactly what you'd hear as a kid sitting at the table, and you weren't allowed to go to the bar, and my granddad would come back and he'd give my gran a baby sham, and you would hear it. All right, Bill. You all right, Les? You good? Yeah, I'm good. Terrible weather, Bill. Yeah, really bad. How's the allotment, Bill? Oh, it's all right. You'd hear this, like, you know, people would know. My grandparents just knew everyone in the British Legion, and everyone in the British Legion knew everyone else. And it was like that. It was like being in the British Legion in 1983. That for me, that production. So thank you for your comment. It made me chuckle. Mary, been my favourite episode of Jury so far. Mary, which one was that? Let's have a look at Jury. I can't get a strike on my own channel, can I? Mary. Oh yes, the one with Colin Givons. Yeah, that was a good episode. Yeah, that was a good episode. That's this one. Yeah, Mary. He's great in everything. And somebody pointed out he's still alive. He's still with us.
We're not social workers, you know. We're social security
You're
officers.
still human, aren't you?
And you should see the number of visits we have to get through. I could take you downstairs and show you a filing cabinet. It's
This
bigger
was
than
really
one,
good.
And it's chock full of case papers of people wanting a visit. We can't keep up.
Don't me crying in a minute.
Yeah, this was
Blame
really
the system, it
really
isn't your
good.
fault. Well, whose fault is it?
Imagine doing this today. Imagine just making your way illegally into the office of the
Mr.
council.
Francis. I don't want to see him again. So,
She was
what
very
are you
good.
going to do about
She was
it?
very good.
About me.
You'll have to call back during office hours. Make an appointment. Tell them your circumstances have changed.
What?
They'll make out another claim for you.
Make out another claim.
He's
for
so
me.
empathetic towards her.
Are you serious?
Nowadays,
The office is shut at the moment. It opens
Listen,
again at 9
you
o'clock
got me
in
into
the
this
morning.
bloody mess, and now you want to wash your hands of it.
It is all
imagine
right.
this today.
It is all
Imagine
right.
this
Do you
today.
make me sick? You don't care, do you? You don't give a damn, do you?
I do.
You don't give a bloody damn.
I do actually care.
And he does. He does
I
care.
actually think I do a good job. I always try to be fair. We can't get involved, you see. No emotional attachments to claimants. Well, you can see why, can't you? We couldn't make objective assessments. I really did think you were living as man and wife.
Great,
Oh, I know
great
Mr.
build-up of
Francis
drama
had
this
another address,
episode.
which, of course you did. But he was never there.
Great build-up of drama that you get in that episode. The two leads are wonderful, and I agree, Ray. That is one of the finest of the series. Although it does surprise me just how many faces from the past are turning up in that. And I don't know whether I have a favourite. I'd say that was close to being a favourite. I knew that was probably. I really liked the last one. I really did like the last one, Elizabeth and Steve. The one that's out viewing all of them. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because of the restrictions. Somebody's comment on this one the other day was perfect. Let me go to the comment section of the video quickly. Browser window. So we have a comment here. It's the second comment in from 67 Parsifal. It says, very good episode. The young man appeared to be holding all the aces, but he blew it without even trying, to quote Rod Stewart. The assumption that he could join her in the bath and then his words of sympathy for the accused rapist persuaded her that his time was up. That's exactly how their relationship should end. He was left with a blow to his armor prop. And then he put, the woman who played Angela Morant was first wife of Ben Kingsley. this is why I love all these comments. People know a lot more about these actors. So yeah, that was his wife, was Ben Kingsley. Just died in June this year. Interestingly, the other role I remember her for was the mother of an accused rapist in Brookside. So that's the actress that plays Elizabeth in that episode 10 of Jury. But there was something somebody else said. Oh yeah, this one here at the bottom, Pekka Decker. Pekka Decker says the two characters, the building site foreman and ex-oil rigger bloke is Gobby and Brash, and the older museum woman who's a la-di-da. So, okay. In this episode, one interesting scene, this Casanova following Mrs. Bucket Woman to a restaurant, a reference to the main story, the trial of the man following a woman home. I never picked that up. If you watch that episode, you will see that the character of Steve follows the character of Elizabeth when she says she's busy and can't see him, and he watches her outside a cafe entertaining her other chap. And again, he's right. How it mirrors the main story of the trial in question, of the murder, of the rape case in question. And then he's put in the smooth working man's bachelor pad, a music vinyl collection containing Not the 9 O'Clock News. Hedgehog Sandwich cover was excellent. This was very good story. So the guy, I sort of put, yes, I love the subtlety of writing in this episode, like in many episodes actually, and how closely events seem to mirror somewhat to the trial in question. I think that Jury is actually a very well written series, even if you're not interested in some of the characters that may have seemed more dated than others, some of them. But I think the consistency of how the writing reflects in the trial, and I think as a standalone, if you were to just take the trial scenes, it's a very accurate portrayal of a case, of a criminal case. Having done jury duty myself in my life twice, I would say that it's very much that, and I think it's quite authentic and accurate. And overall, I think Jury is a fascinating series. That, in theory, the way its structure is, the way it was made in 1983, would hold up really well under somebody like Jimmy McGovern today. I mean, he's made drama in courts a lot, but I think I would love to see this brought back with Jimmy McGovern's writing. The Accused is the one I'm thinking of, which I think is one of the finest criminal court case dramas series that you can possibly watch. And The Accused is, I can't quite put Jury in that league, but I could see it coming back, this format. I could see that format coming back. McGovern's always been interested more about the people that do the crimes than the crime itself. And I think that's what you're getting in Jury, except you're not getting victims of the crime. He would get the chance to do it with a jury. Like, there's a lot of episodes there. Can you imagine what themes he put in with the jury for his show? I think it would work. I'd love to see Jimmy McGovern tackle something like that. But yeah, I'm enjoying Jury. I think it's a great series. So I'm glad you're enjoying it, Ray. I'm glad other people are enjoying it, which is always nice to see. Mary, as Purba says, Mary is her favourite episode of Jury so far. Old School Talking with Alan. Story of Joanna is a similar tale. Oh wait. Debbie does Swindon. She looks like Tawny Pearl. I don't know who some of these people are. You're indeed a man of culture. Frankie Howard. I'd say that blew it without trying. Whodunit was an odd show. It's well written, clever series, says Ray. Thank you, Ray. Beer, cigarettes, and flared pants. Love me some John Pertwee, says Alan. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I've running a channel like this it's at my own cost. And this is probably the last thing I'll be uploading for a fair bit of time, if I was being really honest, which is why I hope the streams, to do a stream maybe twice a month, something like that. The reason I'm slowing down is because it's harder to find stuff that isn't already out there, but also there's a lot of content that I've uploaded that I pay 30, 40, 50 pound for, and I just don't have the funds right now to be able to continue. Jury was the last thing that I bought, and that was 25 pounds, but again, it's very rare. Yeah, I don't mind paying. It goes to cancer research from the person I buy from. He doesn't make any money from it, but he's retiring in, I think he's retiring in December. Some people out there might know who that person is, but that's where I buy a lot of my stuff from. But I'm going to have to just put a hold on some of it because of money, really. I do have a few random things that I come across and upload. I uploaded Waiting for the Rain. I don't think many people would get that reference to a obscure Polish film that you can hardly find. I actually encoded the subtitles myself just for that clip. It's a film I accidentally stumbled on looking up on the Polish database from the 70s. I was looking at, because Poland produced some amazing films in the 70s, and I was looking for a specific film, and I'd seen this picture of this little girl, and I thought, oh, what's that film? It looked like a Children's Film Foundation, which I'm a big fan of. I own most of those up there. Can't upload them to my channel, though, so don't ask, because I will get copyright strike. And I watched it. It's called Waiting for the Rain. It's an absolutely wonderful Polish film, Czech Republic as it was known, Czech Republic, where the director was from. I think it was funded by several countries. And I found it on .ru, which is a Russian online. You can find it yourself. I think it's .ru, something like that. But it was in Polish, and I found the subtitles and applied it to Handbrake through Handbrake and uploaded it, and just a clip of it. But I'm tempted to. I've got several films like that, and I'm tempted to. They're VHS rips. They are obscure films. The thing is, like, I've always seen Major Dolby's Cat as British, like really British. Like I've, why you'll rarely see you won't see anything really American series on here. If I suddenly start uploading obscure Romanian, Polish, French films from the 70s, and I have plenty of them because I enjoy watching some of them, the channel might somehow. I don't think I have an audience for that. I know, I might be wrong. If you want to see more content like that, let me know in the comments of this stream. But something has to change just for a few months while I recoup my losses through financial aspect of life. I have to slow down on buying both boutique Blu-rays and content for YouTube. So I'm not saying enjoy Jury. We've got another couple of episodes left, and I do have another series of something to upload sporadically between now and Christmas, but it's going to slow down a lot in the next couple of months just to be able to afford what's going on in my personal life. So I don't monetize the channel if anyone's just watching this stream, or I can't monetize it, so I don't make any money from it. And generally I've been spending about £150, £200 a year on content that I upload out my own pocket. So yeah, there is that. But I've got to watch out what I do now, unfortunately, till the property's sold. Oh, and I can invest the money, and I just need to invest money into property, something where I can rent something out and get a passive income. That's what I want. But 2 years down the line, I'm still got the property. I can't sell it. So you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. Edward Woodward did first series of Who Done It. Pertwee was probably better. Audiences got to have a go and won a magnifying glass. Just nick it off. Archive. That's true. There is stuff on Archive. You could do an X-rated review program. I would watch. Thing is, Alan, I maybe 20 years ago I could have, but I've forgotten some of them. I could review Japanese pink cinema from the 60s and 70s. I've got a fair few of those still, and they have a political merit as well. They're interesting. They're not just titillation. There was a lot of, like, you know, in France they had the French New Wave. In Japan they had what they called the Pingu era. Pinku, not Pingu. Pingu is a penguin. Pinku, Pinku, Pinko era, which were political. To be able to get their politics across and have an audience to watch them, they used to put scantily clad women in them, either being sort of violent assassins or seductive seductresses, but they'd have this political message, liberalism and you know, anti-Nazi sort of stuff. And there was some interesting stuff. Japan did some, I mean, pretty controversial stuff today, to be honest. But the pink era of Japanese cinema, maybe that might be an avenue I should go down. Al Pom's really Al Porn's really hot now, says Folk Al. Hundreds must go home. Two wings, one beak is a classic. Oh, old school. Jeez. Four feathers is good. That's Leslie Howard. Chin up, see, it will all work out, brother. Thank you. Old school. Major Dolby's Hentai Hour. Something I've never got into. It's weird. It's just weird to see cartoon characters having sex. Is that hentai? Is it? Hentai? Yeah. No, it's wrong. I'm not going to criticize anyone who's into it, but I got an old DVD called Scary Stories. It's three kids ghost type dramas if you want them. Ray, that might be. Is it on YouTube? The only thing is, do a little search for it, Ray. If it's on YouTube, no. If it's American, probably not. If it's British and it's not on YouTube, I would love to get hold of them, and I would put them on YouTube. If I find any echoes of anything that I upload on YouTube, I tend to be hesitant in uploading it. I do not want to repeat what's already out there. I do not want to take away somebody's thunder for posting a series, you know. And I've come across several things like that before, and sometimes they've unlisted the video, and then when I upload it, about a week later, I go on do a search, and I see that it's there, but uploaded like 5 years ago, and I think somebody's just made it visible again because I've uploaded it. I don't like peeing people off like that, so I tend to stick to the more obscure stuff. I just see that comment because you've made that comment before. Old school fool. You just retracted it, mate. You just retracted it. I read it as well. And you have made that comment before, you sod. Crack me up. I was talking about Twin Peaks. You say, my dad recorded something. I'd read that before, and I love that you retracted it. I wouldn't have read it out like I did the last time. I think it was during a live stream last time I ended up reading that out. Bastard. Keep your chin up and something else if you can. Good one, Alan. Good one. I just looked and couldn't find it. Okay, Ray. You could send it to me, Mum's address. Send me the details of it. I don't want you to be out of pocket or anything. Send me the details of the show that you've got. The year, the name of the show, the actors that are in it. Send it to me in a message, mate. And then I'll have a look. But yeah, I would love your help there. That would be great. Old school. That's not 35mm. LOL. The Man from Nowhere. Hunters of the Deep. Out of the Oh, they're the shows. The Man from Nowhere. Hunters of the Deep and Out of the Darkness. Has that got Michelle Dautrice in it? Is that Out of the Darkness? It was a Euro horror called Out of the Darkness with Michelle Dautrice. Has that got her in it? That's rare, mate. That's rare. I would love to get my hands on it. I would upload that to the channel. I was wondering if you, instead of you having to send anything, mate, could you like rip it and then send me it in like a WeTransfer or something? It would save me money. I could upload it like that, but Out of the Darkness. No, she's not in. I can't find. Oh, that's not called Out of the Darkness. What's that called? Into the Darkness. Into the Darkness. Does anyone know that film? Great film. Let's watch the trailer for it, and then I'm going to call it Into the Darkness. If there's a trailer. There isn't a trailer. Is it called Into the Darkness? Fuck it. What is it called? Michelle Dotrice. Darkness. I'm sure it's the darkness of something. And soon the darkness. Some people might already know what this film is, or it's a great film. And soon the darkness. And soon the darkness. Trailer. Original 1970s trailer. Here we go then. Here we go. This is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, this is a great movie.
Take 3 young people. Take 3 exciting young people. Take Pamela Franklin in her first starring role. Take dynamic Shandor Ellis. Take newcomer Michelle Dotrice. Take France under a hot, bright sun. Come out, damn you!
A little ride in sunny France. A little ride down a long road. A little ride in the hot, bright sun. A carefree holiday for 2.
Did you get your bum pinched?
No, that's Italy. They'll do anything in Italy.
Huh? What are we doing in France, then?
A holiday soon to go wrong.
Why don't you go? Just go.
Yes, I think I will. I think I'll do just that. Horribly wrong. A little ride in sunny France with a killer stalking you. He's killed before. Why not again? Why not you? A little ride in quiet places. Just a little ride in the hot, bright sun. Soon to turn into a nightmare.
Stop! Please!
A sun-drenched nightmare. And suddenly, you're alone. You're young. And vulnerable. And terrified. You don't speak the language.
Mes femmes, toujours mes femmes.
Who do you turn to for help?
Who's asking for trouble? Alone on the road?
And who can you trust? A little ride in sunny France. Oh no. Oh dear God, no. No one, positively no one, will be admitted during the last terrifying minutes of this film. And soon the darkness. See it. You will be very, very frightened.
I love that trailer. That is a brilliant, brilliant trailer. Absolutely brilliant. A great movie. Great movie. That's what I was thinking that Alan's got a copy of. I was thinking that then. But a different film, Alan. A different film. Right. Okay, guys. I am going to call it. I think I've been on for 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's nice to be back. I will do more live streams if you've enjoyed this one. And the range of topics, all under one umbrella of Narrowboat Lost Highway. With the pigeon. don't think the pigeon. I can't see now if he is out there or she, but I think definitely it's time for me to shoot off and say thanks to everyone for joining me. Appreciate that. Quick look at the comments at the end. Back to Blood and Satan's Claw. I love Blood and Satan's Claw. Soon the Darkness. Yes. Out of the Darkness comment. I can't see that on the live chat feed. Does YouTube cut some comments? I may do. Video Diva. I'm not sure. And Soon the Darkness. I Know Me, Dotrice. Schizo with Pete Walker. Pete Walker, classic director, along with he did the horror film of Barry Island, Bloody New Year. Bloody New Year, director, Incubus. Incubus. What was his name? Another one. Pete Walker died several years ago. Tell me some 70s British horror. Orangina, what a classic. Orangina. Remember those bottles? Julie Ash, remember those bottles? Shake the bottle, wake the drink. Good God. There's an ad campaign that stayed with me. I love Orangina. In fact, Orangina is still one of the #1 selling beverages, soft beverages in Europe, outside of the UK. If you go to France, you'll see Orangina being advertised in cafes. Still very popular. Still very popular. I found it was in Greece. There was Orangina was everywhere. I love Orangina. I think it's great. Revenge, 1971. Joan Collins keeping... I won't say that. I've not seen that film. Old School. Revenge. I have to put that on my list. Whisper with Simon Cadell. Good stream. Thanks everybody. Space Dog 321. Thank you for being here. Look at this. Look at the camera, not at the comment. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Appreciate you've enjoyed it. I'll be back, says Old School Fool. Brilliant stream, says Alan. Thank you, Alan. Enjoyed. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, maybe we can rip those, Ray. I could walk you through on old WhatsApp. Maybe you could, rip them, and it would certainly save cost. I don't expect you to be out of pocket, mate. About half of my comment disappeared. Oh, Alan, does that. Still great stream. Norman J. Warren, Old School Fool. Thank you. And in at the end with Norman J. Warren. Bloody New Year, a wonderful, bad horror movie from 1986, I want to say, 86. Norman J. Warren, in the same vein as Pete Walker, very low-budget horror movie director, made some absolute classics, low-budget masters. Orangina glass bottles were like potion bottles. They were like little potion bottles, yes. I always wanted more, though. So you shake the bottle, wait the drink, and then you'd unscrew the cap, and then it was like 250 ml in there. It's not enough. They needed to be bigger. And then I think in some places in this country, they sell the 1 litre bottles of Orangina, and I will always buy Orangina if I see it. Some people say it's like watered down orange juice. The thing is, I haven't bought a normal squash in years. What I do is I tend to use that much pure apple juice and then spring water, cold spring water, fill it right up, dilute apple juice, because I like a slightly watery flavour to it. I don't want it as strong and sweet as proper apple juice. So if you water it down, also add a splash of ginger as well to it. That's why I love Orangina, because I think it's the perfect balance between water and flavour. It's better than all these horrible saccharine sweet shite that they've got in supermarkets, like elderflower and with forest fruits, spring water. They're just, you can taste the artificial sweetener in them. Absolutely gross. I hate those things. But I that's why I love sparkling water still. Orangina glass bowls. Yes, they are like potion bowls. Inn of the Frightened People, aka Revenge. Again, Alan, not heard of that one, but I do like the title. Thanks for the Sunday stream. Thank you, Julie. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for earlier on for helping me get to where the stream is now. So I appreciate that, Julie. It's always lovely to hear from you. Stanley Long made lots of sexploitation movies in the 70s. I'm pretty sure most of them starred Robin Asquith. Great stream. Broski says old school. love you being here, mate. Speak soon. Inseminoid, that's another Norman J. Warren movie, correct? Sent you a WhatsApp message. Thank you, Ray. So, thank you, everyone. Let's